Hello again, it's Rudy Herrera. Back with another lesson. Today we've been doing figure drawing, we've done some paneling, we fleshed out our story a little bit as far as the visual aspects of it. So we're gonna go on to the next step, right? We're starting to finish what we got. By now we have a bunch of pencil drawings down. So I'm just gonna run through your materials, right? And I'm gonna work with my comic with the same materials that you're gonna be getting. So real quick, you're familiar, same pencil you guys got. I got the same erasers, just a little worn down, with the same thing you guys got. And then today we're gonna touch on these, right? So I'm getting one of these, right? And I'm gonna show you. I have mine right here. It's the same thing, it's just the inking's a little different. This is my own personal one. I think it holds a little bit better, right? But it's the same ink. To get it started, you're gonna have to undo this bit right here. You see mine doesn't have this little red spacer. You just twist it off. Whoa, 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 whoa. I just ate some fried rice, so my hands are all greasy. Hold up. Alright, we'll clean this up in editing.
Okay.
Oh, this is so embarrassing. Someone should have had this prepped.
A few moments later.
Okay. Back. So you're gonna have this little red mark right here, this little red spacer. All you do is twist it off.
Good job.
Right? You're gonna remove that. This is gonna puncture through, and you just give it a couple little pinches to run through that little fountain. See, you should be clean like this. Just give it a little pinches. You'll see mine move on this one right here, and then just let that soak through, and then you reassemble it. I'm not gonna do it to this one. I'll leave this fresh for somebody else to do, and that's it. Except, you'd put it on without this, and you're good to go. Give it a good saturation. Give it a little strokes, just enough so that way your marking doesn't come out dry like a dry brush, right? And that's it, and you'll be able to, get started with that one. And I'll show you why this is one of my favorite tools. Is it has this nylon tip, right? It mimics a brush, which is, how they traditionally ink things. This one right here might be a little saturated just because I gave it a couple squeezes, but it really lets you play with some line thickness, so you have some little lines right here. Look at that. You can get as small as this. Yeah, that's just this brush, right? One of my favorite tools. I think you'll like it too. And then we're just gonna do a quick little demo on these microns. See, different sizes. And this one goes by 8 and 2. If you don't have these, you have your own. Just I like to keep basically I think about it as a big line and a small line, right? So my 8 is my bigger line. This is gonna be what I want to use whenever I'm trying to bring things in front. And my smaller one, in this case, the 2, this is a super fine detail one, right? And this one, if you feel comfortable, this could be your cross-hatching pen, your wording pen, all that, right? So that's what this is for. See, so to give you an example of how I'd use this, I would do something like that. Let's say in this particular scene I'm wanting to cross hatch it or shade it or something, right? That's when I'd come in with this guy. I'll shade with this little guy, my little detailer. And then what I would do to just finish that up is I would come across, I'd come over it with this guy right here, a big one. Kind of wrap all this. All right. And then also too, if you wanted to do like you know, this traditional you know, old school marble like shading where the black is real close to the highlight, you know, you could definitely work that. Do something like this, right? So you can do stuff like this with this bigger pen. Alright. I'm just kind of roughing it in right now. I think most of you guys get the idea. And that actually, if I ran through something like that, that's when I would actually bust out this bad boy. Because that's where you get all these, you can fill your blacks in there. That's why they used brushes when doing that style. It's a little more airy. See? So, but in this case, because I'm trying to keep my comic simple, because it's a lot of work to draw these things, right? And I kind of want to do something now, do something real quick, something that can be fun and spontaneous. I'm not going to go this whole route, right? So I might do a circle. I'm basically only going to play with line width. And you'll see what that means when I get into example, but I wouldn't go through and cross hatch it like I did there. If anything, I'll just put some shadow right here. You'll see I'm gonna, you know, this comic's gonna be worked in a cartoony style. So I would just give, you know, the implications of all this stuff that I just did with the cross hatching and whatnot. You know, readers are pretty smart, pretty visually literate, and there's a lot of stuff you can convey with a couple of lines, right? Same idea. Less lines, easier for me to work with. So, up to this point, we've learned a little bit about our figure drawing, how we move the story with dialogue, our paneling, how we space it, and whatnot. So now, in theory, we should be at some point where we got a couple of those pages figured out, right? Maybe not all the way figured out, but we have something. And hopefully, you know, that's where you're at. You're where you're at. You don't want to dwell on any one thing too long, because you don't want to labor over this too hard, right? You don't want to labor to the point where you've lost interest and it's just dragged on for too long. So we're gonna revisit this this image from a previous lesson, right? And on this example, you saw how I went through and worked my circle figures. I put my head right there, I went through and I did all the oblong shapes and whatnot, and then I went over it again with another pass and I worked in these little details a bit more, and then I went over it again and I put in these other little finishing things, and I corrected some things I thought were just maybe too weird to fly. And for instance, right here, I remember I changed this guy's mouth. There's still some weird stuff going on, but a lot of it, you know, like I said, you can get away with some stuff because not everything has to be super detailed. A lot of it can just be implied for the reader to get, and that's where we're at. So I'm gonna basically run through this as I would normally with this step, and that step is the inking phase. So I'm gonna go through that right now. First thing I'm gonna do is I want to hit all my hard outlines, right? I'm gonna bring what I want you to see forward. So I'm gonna do that with my number 8, my wider pen, and if I need to, if there's parts where I really want to emphasize something, maybe I'll hit it with this. But I'm gonna start with this because I can go up if I need to this. If I make something weird, I can't scale it down. So I'm gonna start smaller and go up if I need to. So here we go, let's get into it.
Fire.
so as you see, I went through it with the bigger pen. Alright, I'm not going to necessarily jump to this one yet because now I'm going to go over it with our smaller detail pen. And what I'm going to use this for is to kind of, you see these onomatopoeias kind of going in the back during all this. I'm going to work some detail in, and basically I'm going to see how busy it is. I'm going to see which points really need to kind of go over and be hit with this. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be something right here. I imagine this sits fine just because there's nothing going on. But this right here, depending on how these letters come out, might be a little too busy for my preference. And then I might put in some little, you know, notches for shading around here, maybe some grooves underneath the eyes, but we're gonna see. But right now I'm gonna give it my second pass, and this is for, you know, things that don't necessarily need this bigger, bolder outline. Like as you see right here, I didn't touch some of the teeth. You know, it doesn't need a line as thick as what I gave the outside, his silhouette shape, right? I can go over it with this. Same thing with the eyes, some details around here. I want to put some circles around there. That doesn't need to be the big pen. Remember, this is to bring stuff forward, right? The bigger it's like anything else. The bigger this line is, the closer it is to you. So I'm gonna give another pass with this number 2.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
So I just went over it again with my smaller liner, put in some details. You see I put in you know, some of the things I did with that was I put in the teeth. I worked in some little details on the guns, put some little line shading to emphasize some shapes, you know, mainly on the clothes and the metal surfaces. I forgot this spot right here. I'll put a little one like this so you don't get confused. Alright, knocked out some of my lettering. I can kind of see what's going on. Right now it's getting a little messy because I'm thinking right now, I mean, to be quite honest, I forget what some of the words are in the back. I just remember boom, that was real legible for me to see. So I'm gonna do a little cleanup and see where I'm at, because I might be able to tell where some lines don't touch, you know, because I went through it real fast. But it's gonna give us, it's gonna get rid of all these pencil markings, and we're gonna see where we're at. Okay, I'm gonna do that now. Clean up. Alright, so here we go. Just a little cleaner, right? I'm looking over it, double checking my lines. I'm gonna see if I need to fix any wide lines. Looks like I do right here. Look, I forgot this top lace. Forgot Officer McCullough's belt buckle right here. Gonna need that. Alright, got some lines. For the most part, you know, not bad. You know, for me, nothing really super bothering me. And you know, if you do plan, maybe you're working on something digitally, or you plan on putting this in a computer to mass produce it or something, you know, a little quick dot is, do make sure all your lines kind of touch and end where they need to be. That could be a way to make it easy for you to just kind of, you know, plop in that color if you don't plan to go in there and, you know, adding that layer by hand. But you know, that's if you are doing that. Other than that, you know, you're probably gonna be the only one that sees this stuff, or at least that's gonna bother. No one's gonna be taken out of your story because you missed to connect this panel line to this little explosion right here. So yeah, there we go. I cleaned up the background of that. I'm going to finish pinning in some words right here. I think maybe have boom right there, maybe freedom in the background, maybe who knows, whatever, who knows. Alright, so there we go. Put in the words. I think I did boom, America, freedom, money. You can only really see boom in the back. But the point is, I got everything filled out, right? I'm wondering, okay, where does it get a little muddy? What do I need to bring forward? And I think I'm gonna go with the yelling, the resisting, right? Because I need to separate it from the gun blast. They're similar, right? That's the idea. They need to be similar, but I just want to show you this is a little different. So I think I'm gonna go over some parts of this guy. I'm thinking maybe like right here, maybe right here, maybe around this, all this, and this. So I'm gonna do that. Let's see what it looks like. So here we are, inked. Alright, I might go over and I can add some shadowings if I like, emphasize some stuff. Alright, but there we go, that was pretty much it. You saw me go through all from the oblong body to circle and in weird shapes to this. This is pretty much as I think I'm gonna work this. I'll probably go over and clean it up a little bit, but I feel like my lines are pretty much there. I think they're emphasizing what I want to emphasize, and this would be good for a quick little comic. You saw I kind of broke it up by putting on those harder lines with the brush, around these guys, right? Just kind of bring them forward a little bit. I filled this in, the words, with black. Just kind of frame the thing. You know, that's what black is going to do. It's going to bring everything to your attention. That's why I colored in the blood. The shades, it's like an anchoring point for you to look at. And everything else I would leave just like this. You know, if I were to go in to color this, you know, there's room for all that. This could be a gradient background. This could, you know, flashing colors could be this. But as far as line work, I feel good about where all the weight is. And this is a pretty, I like the way this is framed. Like I said, I'll just clean it up. And there's room, you know, like I might go through and revisit this. Like I'm thinking right now about some other pages. In this scene, there's this transitions to where he's standing over him and you see him talking to him, right? Let me find that page. Transitions into this. This is rougher than what I got, right? So already in my head I'm thinking about, you know, hey, there's opportunity in this background to sneak in a little something. Maybe I could sneak in you know, one of my favorite San Antonio landmarks or something, you know. That's something I can transition into this to kind of you know, help better relate these two. And that's some stuff you might see whenever you're inking. So, you know, if you do have these big white spaces, like, you know, your page doesn't have to be all this filled up and just, you know, a lot of stuff going on. You know, you could have some of these, you could have some of these. Use these little techniques, you know, where you think they're necessary, where you want there to be, you know, energy and emotion and just a little bit of chaos going on, right? Then fill it up, make it look like that visually, set that mood. But you know, you don't need to do that all the time. It could be too rich of a flavor if you do that every chance you get, right? But when you get to this point, right, I say leave it alone. Don't overwork it, right? This is pretty much is reinforcing every idea I had on there before when I started doing this. So, like I said, you know, I had that idea about this maybe in the background. You know, let me finish this. Let's see how I feel about it. Maybe that's not a super big detail. Maybe that's something we could skip to get it done. Or, you know, if I have enough time, I'll come back and revisit it. But that's where you're at, you know. There's a way to use your wording to show this, you know. If you're trying to show something heavy and exclamatory, you know, try to make it look like that. You know, if this was like a typed, you know, evenly spaced something saying stop, it just wouldn't convey that same emotion. This guy right here too. Here's another example of that. You see he's saying I, and then the letters are wavy, right? So whenever I see that, in my head I make the connection of like a breaky voice. You know, he's not exclamating in pain, right? He's like, "Ay!" He's not screaming out loud. Just a little, "Ow, ow! I got shot in the leg." He's probably had harder things happen in his life, right? But that still sucks. But that's how he says it, right? That's the mood I get from letters like that. So yeah, that's where we're at. That was the lesson for today. A little inking. Yeah, and that's where we're at. Alright, thank you guys.